Are we back? We're back.
Did we get it straight?
I have no idea.
We are back on a new.
We are back. We're live.
Yeah, that was super weird. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that was very odd.
Yeah, that's never happened to us.
We had some technical difficulties there.
Yeah, I don't know. The stream just stopped.
Like it just disconnected from Facebook. We were still live on YouTube, but our stream disconnected from Facebook. Didn't pay the bill.
Yeah, maybe.
Didn't pay that Facebook bill. Damn Zuckerberg.
Sorry, fellas. Sorry, y'all.
So anyway, like we were saying, so the biggest bag that I've seen come from the flats in the last few years, or I've heard of,
It's like 27, right? Something like that.
almost 28. It was 27.9 on their scale. It was almost 25 for 4 fish.
Wow. Hammers. So that's an average 6 pound average. Pretty much.
Yeah,
For the 4 at least.
They had like two. It was like 2 5.5s and 2 6.5s, or something like that.
That's pretty awesome. Hey, should we announce the new boat builder that we're gonna have on?
No,
Not yet.
no.
We'll make our own post about it.
Yeah, we'll
Wait, what happened?
What you guys know?
You mean what happened?
We have an interview with a.
We have an interview with a
company.
boat builder outside the
Oh,
U.S.
yeah.
I gotta draft up those questions.
But yeah, no, they called him. So to answer your question, did they catch him first thing in the morning? No, they caught him all day.
Because I've heard of some big bags coming in that time frame, but it's usually you catch them like until 8 o'clock in the morning and then it's done.
They caught him. They caught him all day.
Wow, that's
They
awesome.
caught their biggest fish like I think they said they caught their biggest fish like I think like an hour before weigh in. Like they were thinking they were thinking that they would go back because they knew that they knew they pretty much had it, right? So they were thinking, well, we need to just head back to the northeast. We'll fish we'll fish around in the northeast a little bit, and then like they were like, oh, we'll just fish a little longer, and then one of them caught a 6.5 pounder, and they were like, all right, now we'll go back. Yeah, I think they had like 24 and a half for 4 fish because it was a 4 fish limit for that tournament.
That's a massive bag.
Yeah.
That's a massive bag.
And they had almost their best 5 was almost 29 pounds. It was stupid.
Yeah, that's multiple 6s.
Yeah.
Or larger.
They had 2 6 and their bag was 2 6.5s and 2 5.5s that they weighed in.
This felt like an OnlyFans freebie. As it gets good, you get cut off.
Go fish the Tuckahoe in the fall.
I bet it was China. China cut our podcast. They probably talked to Elon. I talked to Elon this week, but he didn't respond. I don't know why.
I don't fish the Tuckahoe much. If I'm fishing, if I'm on the chop tank, if I'm in the chop tank area, like I prefer other areas over the Tuckahoe.
Denton North.
I usually fish north of Denton.
How far up can you go?
Greensboro.
Is that like the limit?
Yeah, I mean that's about as far as you can get it. I mean it gets like this wide up there.
Oh really? Okay.
It gets about wide enough to turn around a bass boat. The biggest issue up there is like if you get like a flood tide and then that tide turns around and starts going out, the current runs so fast. Like that it's almost impossible to fish.
There's definitely some current on that river. It's a pretty cool river though. I enjoyed fishing it. I've only fished it once and I did enjoy it. I feel like Tuckahoe sets up very similarly to Marshy Hope. Was that an accurate statement?
Marshy Hope sets up completely different than Tuckahoe.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never been in Tuckahoe, but it looks the same on the map. It's like the same type of thing going on.
I mean, to be fair, like all of the shore creeks and rivers kind of set up the same. So
I guess
it's
so.
not really.
What makes Tuckahoe different than Marshy Hope?
Marshy Hope's a lot deeper.
Oh, okay. Like I want the Eastern Shore rivers to be so much better than they are.
Tuckahoe, you got to really like if you're running the Tuckahoe like from the mouth up, like you have to know where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that scares me.
Because there's a lot of big mud flats down there that you.
Here's a question: do we consider the Sassafras the Eastern Shore?
Yeah, it's an Eastern Shore river. Anything on the east side of the bay is an Eastern Shore river.
So the Northeast is also the Eastern Shore.
Technically, yeah.
I feel like that's just not right, though. You know what I mean? Like I understand what you're saying, but it's like.
Although I guess it doesn't really touch the bay; it touches the Susquehanna. It comes into the Susquehanna, so it's not really the bay.
So the Flats is the Susquehanna. That's not the bay.
It's the Susquehanna Flats for a reason.
This is wow.
True.
I feel like the Flats is the bay. Like I feel like
I don't think that so to me the bay doesn't start until like Turkey Point. Like that's where the bay starts. Where you get that confluence of water, right?
This is an interesting conversation. Because like generally, I mean, I've heard people describe the Upper Bay as Middle River North.
Yeah, but I don't ever launch in the Tuckahoe, Andre. If I'm fishing down there, I'm generally fishing a tournament, and I'm usually fishing out of the state park.
See, like that looks more Chesapeake Bay to me.
So
no, keep going up.
this is the flats right here, is it?
No. You're in the mouth
You're
of
way
like Back
down
River.
by Baltimore.
Yeah.
The flats is up there, that big circle.
Okay, right here.
Like that's the Chesapeake Bay.
No. So see that big point down there? That's Turkey Point. So see where it
Yeah, at the
narrows
mouth
down?
of the Elk.
Yeah.
So when
from
you
there
come
down,
out into here, is what you're saying is the bay.
that's what I consider the bay.
I don't know, dude. I think the main Flats is Bay because
I mean, it's everything. It's all the Chesapeake Bay, right?
yeah, but
So this
I
is
just can't
this is
call
this
the
is
flats.
the flats.
Yeah.
And then this is going up, northeast up here?
That's the Northeast. Yeah.
Yeah, northeast up here. Northeast, duh.
I guess you could call. I mean, it is called the Susquehanna.
So what about if you go up in the Elk River?
There's,
What about it?
Plenty
Not
of
the
fish,
bay?
Plenty of fish up there.
No,
It's
it's
Elk
the Elk
River.
So this is the top of the bay, and then it just stops.
Well, it depends
No.
what you ask.
So the mouth of the Elk River starts the Elk River, and then below the mouth. So from Westview Shores to the point to Turkey Point, which is straight north.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mouth of the Elk River. So anything outside of that is the bay.
I don't know because I've heard guys
Same
say
with the
You know,
Same
there's
with
a
the
restaurant on Aberdeen Proving Grounds right here called Top of the Bay,
dude, let me tell you right now.
and that is in the flats.
The amount of fish in the off limit stuff is absolutely ridiculous.
The state record
Right there.
of Maryland is in there.
Absolutely
Period.
ridiculous.
That area right there. Right at the bottom. Nope. Down. Yeah. Over.
You talking about Spizzuti?
Yeah. That
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
whole little. Oh my god.
I would. Give
This
that
whole
a big
area in
fish.
here, the Spassuti Narrows.
I can
loaded.
just tell you-
Then you get Romney Creek that's going up in here.
That's not Romney Creek.
Romney Creek's further
Romney
down.
Creek's way
I've
down.
duck hunted Romney Creek. It's ridiculous.
but still,
It's ridiculous.
I don't even know what that creek is. Romney Creek's way down. Way.
Yep,
way
there
down
you
here,
go.
Right
there
there.
you go. You can't get it.
Romney
I
Creek's
guarantee
huge.
you, there's state record in Romney Creek.
I wouldn't say that there's
And up here
like a
in the
guaranteed
Spassuti
state
Narrows.
record, but there's definitely good fish in there.
Hammers.
It's just there's.
I can tell you right
nobody
now.
in there.
I went in
And
there.
even this shit, you can't go up in
No,
here. Can you?
there's no, you can't go in there.
Yeah.
There's nobody in there. That
I
doesn't
went
mean
in
people
there.
Don't go in there.
I went in there in November,
I know people
duck
go in
hunting,
there.
and the grass was still topped out. Like, oh my god.
Because it's never seen a freaking boat prop.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
People fish it.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
I'll just throw that out there. People fish it.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, you're not. It's illegal.
I don't
as
know.
shit.
I don't know how, because I've looked into the permits and everything that's needed to fish. Those
can only fish
areas,
from the
and
bank.
you can only fish it on the bank.
Nobody's fishing it legally.
Yeah, you can only fish it from the bank. You're actually
know,
better
dude.
off fishing the
It
pond.
is not worth.
But here's the weird
It
part
is
about
not
it, right?
worth getting in trouble to go fish some of that government.
Here's the
property.
weird.
It's
Oh,
not.
because that's federal.
For anybody that was looking at what we were just
Some
looking
people-
at, this is
some people
this
don't care.
all of this shit right here.
This federal,
All of
dude.
this is federal property.
You're
You can't go into any of this.
If
And
you
down
get-
here, Romney, you can't go into any of this. This is all illegal property to go on.
If you get
it is
caught
federal
there, it's-
property, it's
yeah.
government property.
Go back down there to the mouth of the bush. See that creek right there? At the mouth? Right, yeah, that one.
That's
No, not that one.
That's not
That-
Kings
that
Creek. What the hell is that one called?
That's Abbey Creek.
Yep. Somebody won a tournament in there from what I heard a
That's
couple
just,
years
that should
ago.
be disqualified.
They should be. It's off limits. I'm not saying that I've never fished that.
I definitely wouldn't say that if I were you.
I'm not saying I've never fished it.
Now, duck hunt that? Oh my god. It's like it's
See,
unbelievable.
you know what? That's the shit that pisses me off. Is like, you guys can go up there and duck hunt that, but we can't go in there.
Oh, it
and
makes
fish
no
with it.
sense. It makes no sense.
Well, the thing is with them is they're saying there's unexploded ordinances that can be in the water.
So this makes you're absolutely right. So tell me that this makes sense.
They also know that you're there when you duck hunt.
Yeah,
you have to check in with like stuff like that.
That is true. But the thing of it is like, so you're telling me I
Shit,
have
that
a
right there looks free.
I can run a mud motor.
Shallow as fuck.
I can run a mud motor
I've also
in
been in
there.
that. I've been in that creek too.
I can run a mud motor in there and be okay. But a fishing lure is gonna fucking trip something. Like,
no,
come on, dude.
and I don't think
Oh, yeah.
that's not why.
Tiki down.
Now I
So
can tell you this.
the reason why is if they don't, like, you're duck hunting, right? They know that there are duck hunters in there.
They
if you're
won't
in there in a
shoot you.
boat,
Yeah.
they're not gonna fire munitions on. That's where they fire their shit to.
There's a creek.
So they're not gonna like
Well,
if
they
you're
do
up
that in the
there.
Bush River too.
There's a creek in the
That
Bush
is the Bush
River.
River.
Yeah, I know.
There's
So, but
yeah.
they don't. That's why they closed down the Bush River. If you're in there, they don't know you're in there, and if they start firing shit, like they could kill you.
There's a creek in the Bush
Where
River.
with duck
that we-
hunters,
yeah.
they know that they're in there. Like, so they know that, like, well, we can't fire because we have duck hunters in.
I'm not gonna
know
lie.
what I mean?
I'm telling you right
Well,
now.
the other thing is too, this is the Bush River. You go up here in the Gunpowder.
All those creeks, you can
So,
you can hunt them.
This area right up in here is some of the biggest freaking places that they test explosive ordinances on Edgewood Proving Grounds, which is why they don't want people up here on Maxwell Point.
So I can tell you right now.
Also, all of that is all just shoreline access. It's shoreline off access. It's not
Right.
like the water is off access.
I went hunting in a creek in
No,
the Bush River
it's
last
not.
year, and I got stuck in the mud. And when that bubble came up, it burned my nose. And I was like, "Okay,
So-
we're leaving."
I will say, so
Dude,
Wait,
it was-
what happened?
I was stuck in the mud. We went back into a creek duck hunting. We were in a spot we were allowed to be in because we all have the permits to hunt it.
yeah. Look, Dan says he used to fish. You know, we used to fish the canals, also Bush River
So,
on APG. Yeah,
we-
like it's,
we-
everybody's there.
I'm
Everybody's done
in
it.
the mud, in my waders, hunting, and I'm trudging through like hip deep mud, getting the boat unstuck, and the bubbles are coming up from the mud, and my nose started to burn. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's
we're
from
out.
that's from the barrels of mustard gas.
Like, I don't know what I was like. We're out.
So-
We're out of here. Like I'm not.
So the first time that me and my buddy fished, when we first started fishing the Upper Bay, the first time when we fished the Bush River, we didn't know what the boats were. So
they will chase you down.
So we were running out to Abbey Point to go striper fishing. So we run out to Abbey Point and we stop, and like the other boat at the mouth
Where's
like cuts
Abbey
us
Point?
off at the mouth of
The mouth of the bush. Yeah, right there.
right there. So the other boat cuts us off, and the guy was cool. Like he wasn't like an a-hole or anything, but like he pulls up and he's like, "Y'all lucky you didn't get shot," and we're like, "What?"
Yeah. Dude,
And he's like, "Do you see that? You see that other boat out there look like mine?" And we were like, "Yeah." It was, and honestly, like it was like right on the channel marker buoy.
The yellow ones, the big yellow ones.
No, the green
okay.
channel marker buoy. So we thought, like when we saw the boat out there, we thought it was just working on the buoy, right? Because it was like tied up to the buoy. So he radios in, tells us to go back in, just make sure you stay inside if you see those boats out there, that was cool. Like we didn't have no issues there. So we get back in and we're fishing in Redmond Cove. And we're kind of at the mouth of Redmond Cove, and I look back and I'm like, "Hey Randy," and all you see is freaking tracer fire going across the river, and Randy's like, "Oh my fucking god!"
And that's
We just almost got turned into Swiss cheese.
dude. No. You almost got turned into red mist. Okay.
Yeah.
There was
that's
no
20
Swiss
millimeter.
cheese about. Yeah. There's no Swiss cheese about it. That was like if that comes near you,
This
the
is
kinetic
20
energy
and
will
30
rip you
millimeter
apart.
fire going across the freaking river.
The kinetic energy of those rounds alone, they don't even have to hit you. If they pass within a certain distance, they will dislocate your members. They will rip your head off.
Yeah.
I will never ever go in anywhere near Bush River or anything when it's not approved. I'm telling you, dude.
Let's talk more about the mouth of the bush. Sounds fun.
It's Yeah, Jim, we have some really gnarly places that.
We have some really gnarly places in the bush.
There's a good story about that. When we had the FLW college
It's like, dude,
tournament,
I have.
Jim, I love how
I
they're still.
work on base, so I have the ability to be on base. I wish that gave me the ability to fish in those areas, but it does not.
Jim,
you can get a permit,
but
you only fish from the bank.
From the bank in certain areas.
Jim, I love how they're still
you
being
that.
serious with this conversation.
It's not even worth it.
Yeah. There's a couple ponds.
They're still being serious about talking about fishing, Jim, talking about the mouth of the bush and gnarly places in the bush.
I'll tell you, that place is like you just don't want to be. You don't want to be near the shit.
You don't take it down.
But yeah, I mean, anybody who's fished that Bush River area for any length of time has ventured into one of those creeks.
So the funny story is when the FLW College Series came up here in 2019, I was fishing it.
And look, if it was that dangerous, all of them would be off limits. Mm-hmm. Just put it that way. So like the ones that are open, where you can see if there are people in there, are fine. Like you can go into Dove's Cove. Dove's Cove is perfectly on limits. It used to be good, by the way. There used to be good grass in there.
So they launched that tournament out of
1 year. The bass were stacked in there.
They launched that tournament at a Flying Point, and I remember I called the tournament director and I said, "Hey, did you call APG? What's APG?" I'm gonna take that as a no. You do realize, I was like, "Look, man, I'm local. I have a military background.
No,
never heard of them.
I'm
Joe.
like, I work on AP. I did work on APG at the time, and I was like, look, they will shut the entire Bush River down. No boat passage, period. If they're testing, you do not want to launch a tournament here. Okay, we'll look into it.
Did they look into it?
No, because in practice they shut it down, and there were college guys that launched at the Flying Point and ran up to the flats and couldn't get back in. One guy ran back and he got run off by APG, and they were had him in handcuffs. Of course, when he's like, "Dude, I'm out of state. I'm fishing a tournament," they let him go. But it was there was no reason to launch a tournament at Flying Point. You could have easily launched at Tidings. I mean, there was only 30 boats. You could have launched at Northeast.
It's about money,
I guess, but it was just it was a bad idea. They shouldn't have done it.
Well, for they shut the BASS when they had the Open here.
Have you thrown it yet, Joe?
They they had the range shut down for the guys. They could run it out of the bush.
But that's
if you make as long as you
have to coordinate it ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Coordinate it, it's fine. They were going to launch the elites out of Flying Point,
and they didn't for that reason.
That is terrible.
They didn't
the
because
parking
it got
at Flying Point is not phenomenal.
The tournament got canceled
in 2018.
Not the one that Aaron Martins won. The one after in 19 when it got canceled.
I thought they were launching out of the Northeast.
No, we were launching out of. It was canceled for severe storms. We were launching out of Flying Point. I was going to marshal that tournament. I was supposed to be Cliff Pace's marshal.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. What bet do you want to make, John?
I thought they were launching out of Northeast because they launched out of Northeast in 15.
Paul Getka, who fishes the Maryland Bass Nation stuff, he's Upper Bay Hammer. It doesn't really fish any open tournaments, but super good fisherman. He was paired with Odd Defoe. Mike Powers. I forget who Mike Powers was with. He was with somebody pretty famous.
I didn't realize you get paid for that to be a marshal.
Not.
I thought you did.
No, you have to pay for it.
Do you get paid to be a camera boat?
You get paid to be a camera boat.
Okay, that's
because
they'll
cover your gas. They're covering your gas expenses and stuff.
I bet my boat
actually
would be a great camera boat.
You actually pay to be a marshal.
Oh, okay, that's pretty neat. I didn't know that.
So you pay. I can't remember what it was. $250 or something.
I would love to be a camera boat in the bullet. Hey man, we can only run 20 miles. I'll run out of gas.
They have there's specifications that they have for the camera boats. I can't remember exactly what they are, but there's certain specifications.
It's 18 foot 150 or something.
I think minimum 200.
Really? Wow.
What?
But I can't remember exactly what they were.
Why would you want to bet Paul that?
I'm glad you didn't do that stupid shit last night.
Why?
Because we don't need to do that.
It's not stupid shit.
I would not take that bet.
We don't need to do that, though.
It's not stupid shit.
But we don't need to do it.
Because you know what's going to happen as soon as we have 3 fish, I'm throwing a glide bait.
That's fine. I'll catch lunker. Don't worry about it. I got you. Put the team on my back. You know what I mean?
That's fine. You have 2 people in the boat. As long as one person is not throwing a glide bait, and one person is throwing a glide bait to potentially catch a 4 or 5 pounder, it kind of makes sense.
I've caught the biggest bass multiple times fishing the Thursday nighters by getting 3 and then starting to throw a glide bait.
Yeah.
And then calling fish with it.
I don't see that being that's not a bad plan at all. What are you talking about today?
Now
I don't like it.
Now an 8-inch.
Maybe not an 8-inch glide bait.
I've caught fish on a glide bait, just not here. Down on Moomaw.
Okay, so put some time in.
Glide bait fishing definitely does work around here.
I don't know.
In fact, like gunpowder is the only place around
For
here.
anybody that says that glide bait fishing does not work around here, it's because they've never put in the time to figure out how to throw a glide bait.
I want to have that jig in my hand.
There was a couple of areas I was fishing last night. I wish I had glide baits in the boat.
Yeah.
I just want to have the jig in my hand, and I want to feel that tick.
So then I tied on top water. So then I tied on top water.
You say that because you've never got nailed on a glide bait around here.
I've only caught smallmouth on a glide. Never caught a largemouth on it.
To be fair, I don't really like catching fish on a glide bait because it's not that fun to me.
It's cool
because I have a broomstick rod and they bite it and I drag them in.
It's not about the broomstick rod. It's about convincing a fish to eat that large bait that sets me on fire.
Okay, I get that. That just doesn't do anything for me.
It doesn't for me. I love that you take the time and the effort to throw this big bait. And when you finally get a bite, yes, it could be a dink the size of the glide bait. It could also be a fucking hammer.
But right, the big. And I'm not saying that I've caught mega giants on a glide bait, but I caught one over 4, and on my swim bait rod, I literally just reeled it.
Yeah, well, that's how you got to do it.
Best fish on the flats with a glide. Let's hear it. Probably a 5-pounder.
You caught a good one on that Citizen that one time we were out. It's not a glide.
It's not.
It's a big paddle.
Matthew, it's
that was
not
a 4-pounder.
Yeah, it's a decent fish.
It's the fight. There's no fight when you're throwing a broomstick. I'm throwing 25 pound line and an 8-foot heavy rod. I'm dragging them in. There's no opportunity for any kind of fight, so it doesn't really thrill me that much.
See, to me, the thrill is just convincing.
Don't get me wrong. I like catching fish. So, if that's the best way to catch fish,
Joe makes another good point. It's a great search bait as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I think it's better as a search bait than it is a fishing bait. Sometimes.
It's a good tool to utilize.
I've used it as a search bait on Deep Creek quite a few times. I just throw a big swim bait up by a dock and just see what comes out.
Yep.
And then you go, fish on this dock, mark. And then you move to the next one. Yeah. No fish, no fish, no fish. Oh, fish on this one, mark.
John, you need to pick up some River to Sea 168s or some 200s or some of the Buca brand trick shads in the 7-inch or the 6-inch side. G-Rat. KGB Spro makes a nice glide bait for a decent price. There's a lot of this. I don't own one of these, but I've heard good things about them. You can store Marashi.
Joe, I got live scope for that.
You got to pick up some stuff like that and throw more glide baits.
Jim, our big fish and your big fish are totally different.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You catch a 7-pounder and you post a picture on Facebook I caught another 7-pounder today.
Most of us have never caught a 7-pounder.
I catch I catch one
Yours
7.
Is 8, but that's out of Smith Mountain.
No, the last fish over 7 I caught was on headwaters.
I caught a 7 this year.
Down Florida.
And on headwaters.
I caught
a Carolina rig.
I caught a 7 this year. Thank you very much.
That's right, you did.
That's
what I said. I said except for Paul.
Oh, and my PB is an 8. I caught an 8 on the Potomac. 8.04.
I've caught a lot of 5s this year. Caught a lot of 5, and which is crazy because I haven't had a boat.
One on a spinner. So the one this year was on a spinner bait, and I caught the 8 on the Potomac on a red eye shad.
Joe says he's never been on a boat with live scope.
Yeah, I got live scope. I don't need a glide bait to see.
It'll ruin your life, Joe. It will. I
It will
promise.
ruin your life. It's like
Jim's I got lucky. I got 3 over 8 the last 2.5 weeks.
it's like getting your first piece when you're a kid. Ruins your life.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters after that.
That live scope
Punchy.
bite is so much fun, though. God, it's so much fun. Once you get it dialed, and once you can really, like, the thing of it is like what the best thing I did with live scope is I started using it in spots where I already knew they were fish, and I could really see what fish were and how they reacted versus just going out into the ether and is that a bass? It's really a shad or a catfish or a carp or whatever.
Well, going out, see, and that's two different bites too, right? So if you're out chasing like suspending fish, like you have to go out and chase suspending fish, because if you're looking at a fish in a brush pile, it looks totally different than a fish that's out in the open.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So being able to identify what's a bass and what's not is really just about time and catching a shit ton of catfish and realizing that that's what a catfish looks like on live scope. So if I see that mark, I'm not going to throw to it.
Yep.
And then, like, you see what a bass it looks like, and you're like, I know what that is.
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta say, no scope, no poles, no spot lock is like, it's like fishing in the freaking caveman days.
I would say, like, it doesn't. I like using live scope. I will say, like, I don't have any issue with somebody who doesn't like using live scope. Like, if that's not for you, that's not for you. It's kind of like the big
people I know that have live scope that just never even turn it on.
It's kind of like the big swim bait thing, right? Yeah. Like, I don't care that you throw big swim baits. Like, if that's what you want to do, go do it. Like, I'm not gonna say you shouldn't throw big swim baits. Like, I'll give you tips. If you only throw big swim baits and you come back and you complain about not catching fish, I'm going to tell you probably shouldn't have thrown a big swim bait. but if that's what if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Like, not a big deal.
Yeah.
All my best fish
it's
been
very
called
easy to get obsessed over the live scope, in my opinion. And from everything, I don't have live scope, but from everything that I hear about it, is you can definitely get hyper focused on it because you can see the fish, and then it just like I don't know. It's
yeah,
like
you have to. Like, it's definitely a learning curve as far as like how to pay attention to it, how to look at it, when you should
you should move away from those fish,
when you should be off the bank, when you should be off the bank. I use it for structure more than anything.
I'll argue that once you get decent at it, you can look at fish and know after a couple casts
if they're going to eat or not.
And then you move. Like, it might, like, and this is not to sound this is not to sound pompous or prideful, whatever, but like when people say, I casted a fish all day and they didn't eat, you don't know how to use live scope.
Now, do you ever think that?
Well, no, you know how to use live scope. You just don't know how to fish with live scope.
Yeah, but there's times where you can see fish and they're not going to eat.
Well, it's like bed fishing, right?
But do you ever think they're not going to eat because they can feel that beam of the live?
They're not going to eat because of how they're set up.
No,
they're not going to eat because of how they're set up, and I will tell you that 100%.
Because, like, if a fish is going to eat, a fish is going to eat. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. To me, I've never noticed that a beam being on them makes a difference. Before live scope even came out,
you're just staring at Scuba Steve's ass, little John.
We used to get right over top of fish with 2D sonar and do the same thing.
Drop on them. Yep.
Watch your bait go down on 2D sonar. Watch your bait go down to the fish. Catch the fish, and if a boat sitting on top of the surface and a beam hitting them isn't affecting them, like a beam shooting out in front of the boat's probably.
It's the same. It's really the same beam. It's the same clicking. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
I mean, it's like, think about back in the day. I mean, and they still do it a lot. Like,
it's not the same clicking from 2D and live scope.
It's very similar. It's the same thing.
It's still a sonar wave.
Yeah,
but it's like,
it's a sonar wave, and the biggest difference between your 2D and like live scope is the processing of the sonar beam. And yeah, they're different.
Listen,
they're at different frequencies, but
it's ultimately the same deal.
It's essentially.
But it's like, if for people that are saying like, oh, fish get beamed with live scope and they leave, does it happen?
So if you swim underneath a boat that's using 2D, as a person, can you hear that? Can you hear the clicking?
You can hear the click, yeah.
You can hear
the click out of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn your transducer on one day.
You'll hear it
like
clicking.
Just in the garage. You'll go up to your trolling motor. You'll hear click, 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 click. It's just a soft.
Sometimes
I can't say I've ever heard it.
Like the hummingbirds are a little bit quicker. The hummingbirds like click, 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 click type of thing.
Well, and if you hear the hummingbird, like, because the hummingbird uses 2 frequencies, so you'll hear click, 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 click.
Now,
Like,
do you think that
click,
using
click,
those
click,
two
click.
frequencies compared to one can screw with the fish more?
I don't think it does. I
I've
don't think
never
it does a
noticed
lot. I mean, and the thing of it is like if you're going to say that live scope makes fish vacate, why didn't those fish vacate when everyone was side scanning for hours back in the day?
Well, and yes, and sometimes when you get more pressured fish, like anything, okay. Let me take that back. I don't think it affects them all the time, especially in deeper water. In shallow water, I have seen situations where turning off all of your electronics, not touching the trolling motor, and just being as quiet as possible made a difference. Me and Frank fished a tournament on the Potomac one year, and we were fishing an area, and we can't we can't get a bite. Finally, we just decided, look, we're in 2 feet of water. We don't need 360. We don't need sonar. Turned all the units off. Mm-hmm. Stopped touching the trolling motor. We would go to a spot.
Shit, the trolling motor is probably the loudest thing.
Well, we would go to a spot, put the talons down, and just sit there, and we would bloop bloop very methodically cast around the boat. And we in the last hour and a half of the tournament we caught 19 pounds. And I do attribute that to turning them off. Now, it was also a very pressured area. And so I think when you get into more pressured fish,
what's up,
it does
Brew
make a
Tank?
difference. Yeah, you're also not fishing while side scanning either, generally.
No, your side scan is definitely a structure thing.
Yeah, I'm just idling and looking. I don't hear my 360 at all.
I've never been on a boat with 360 before.
I've seen that in higher pressured areas. So in higher pressured areas, I do think that sometimes it does make a difference, and I don't think it's because of the sonar. I think it's because they relate that sound to being caught. So it's just like anything else, like any other boat noise, right?
I would agree with. I mean, yeah.
In those situations, because I will when we were on Conroe, like if you got within 40 feet of a brush pile, like if it was less than 40 feet away, and you shine live scope on it, you could literally watch the fish swim out of it. I've also noticed, Jim, that certain fish react differently. If you shine live scope on a school of shad, like specifically gizzard shad, they'll freaking swim everywhere. Like they'll split. But like other groups of fish don't really move. I've caught fish on live scope like underneath my trolling motor.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe different fish are affected differently. So
Yeah.
I don't know the biology or the explanation behind that, but
I think it depends on.
I've seen in just a few situations where having sonar on affected fishing.
I think if you're on fish out in the middle and there's nothing around them, you're more likely to see a fish affected by it. But if you're around,
I think you're less affected if you're out in the middle.
well, what I'm saying is if you see fish out in the middle that aren't on bait and you shine that scope on them, they might scatter. But if you find fish out in the middle that are on bait that are feeding, they're not going to stop feeding because they hear a ping. I think they're locked in and they're going to rock and roll.
I think it really only affects them in shallow water.
I don't
That's
know.
the only time that I've ever seen it affect them.
It's possible. Jim says, I guess not every person out here has forward facing, so sitting hitting spots. They still swim out. It's frustration. Only fish that stay around is the brim.
Well, keep in mind too. So here's something that talking to people who are really good with live scope that I've gathered from them. Bass never stay in the same place. They're always moving.
Yeah.
So it may not be that they're swimming out of the cone. They're just swimming. So there's that too. If you're looking at like suspended fish, like that's what I'm talking about here. And it could be that like those brush pile fish that we have, the trolling motor could have been spooking them. Like, there's a million different things that could have been spooking them. But those brush pile fish have also been live scoped about 1 billion times too. So, fish are going to learn. So the higher pressure, I would say probably affect them more. Less higher pressure affected less.
Josh Jones Fishing says we're all wrong. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Josh Jones can think what he wants.
I don't know. Josh Jones also says that Active Target 2 is the best forward facing on the market, and I think we would all argue that quite a bit.
Yeah, Josh Jones does say a lot of stuff that is like, is it really? Or, oh well, I'm not sponsored by Lowrance, but then you find out that he got screwed by Garmin. So is that why he's not supporting Garmin?
Well, isn't Garmin the ones that said if he's fishing, they like basically said he can't fish crappy tournaments or something? Because that's how the whole thing got started.
I've heard
I've
heard there is large differences in the
separation.
And
That's what he says.
Here's the deal.
But here's the thing, Chad. He also said the other day he was talking about how he got screwed out of a Garmin sponsorship. So now that kind of makes me wonder about why he's saying that.
If Lowrance Active Target 2 was truly the best live scope forward
then everybody would
sonar,
be running Lowrance.
Exactly.
Everybody would be running Lowrance with Active Target 2.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have Humminbird pros that went and bought a Garmin.
Exactly.
They would be running Active Target 2.
And agreed. And the thing of it is
Garmin is slightly cheaper than Active Target 2.
No,
I don't think
because
so.
the units are more expensive.
The thing of it is too
I
is
think
like
Garmin is more user friendly than
the units that the pros are using are more expensive.
I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said that there wouldn't be pros running Garmin. And up until Mega Live 2 and Active Target 2, everyone was running Garmin. I think they're comparable now than they were. Before there was a huge difference. I think there's still a difference. I think Garmin's still the best, but I don't think that you're necessarily
it's going to be 360 live.
I don't think you're
the next crazy
necessarily at a grave disadvantage versus if you're fishing whatever.
The next big technological advancement that is, and this is a rumor, is going to be in mapping, and I don't know what it is. They wouldn't give any more details, but they said the next big thing that will come out will be a different type of mapping. So I don't know if it's like,
I wonder what that could even be.
It's like, yeah, it's what I'm saying. Like, what else can they do?
I don't know. But this was coming from someone at Garmin that works at Garmin, and they said it will be the next big thing. So it makes me wonder, like, is it like 3D imaging? Like what is it? But it makes you wonder. But
all of our monitors are about to get a lot more expensive.
What could there possibly be? I mean, like, what could you possibly have? The only thing that I could see that you have in maps is like grass beds marked or like rocks marked, but like rocks are already marked.
I wanted to go to ICAST this year, Jim. It just
I heard the the rumor that like nobody's going to be at ICAST.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
There's got to be people at ICAST.
Well, so apparently, ICAST has kind of went down.
Thank you.
ICAST kind of went downhill as far as like the worth for the companies. They're no longer paying pros.
Yeah, because everything's done on social media.
They're no longer paying pros to go there. So most of your pros aren't going to be there because they're not getting paid to go there. And they're not going to go there for free.
I just still feel like it's a big thing for people to go there. And no matter what, if it's social media or not, but you still have to hold ICAST to, I guess you don't.
You don't. Because you can, what can you do at ICAST that you can't do with a YouTube video?
Yep.
Like if you have a new product that you want to put
Look
out.
at Google, for Christ's sake.
So here's the thing. I feel like you have to specifically look up these things where at ICAST, like, yes, it might still all be on social media, but it condenses it and it makes it easier to find things.
In a way, yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
But, generally, and generally, the people at ICAST are are not everyday, like, they're not everyday people that are there. Like, you have to be involved in the fishing industry somehow to go there.
Yes.
So it's not really worth it for Megabass. Say like Megabass. Megabass doesn't need to ICAST to put out a new bait. Like, Megabass can just put out a video on their Facebook and everybody will know about it.
Well, they have select vendors around the United States that sell Megabass products, and they just go to them.
Right, but I'm just using them as an example. Right. So a big name, a Strike King, a Megabass, a Yum, a Zoom.
Which, by the way, did you
everybody like they have tens and tens and thousands of followers on social media, if not hundreds of thousands of followers. Mm-hmm. Like, they can just make a video and put it out and not waste a crap ton of money going to ICAST, because ICAST costs those companies a shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, is because technically you can't buy anything at ICAST too. So these companies are putting up a huge front to move people, inventory.
Here's the
other
thing.
They can't sell anything there.
Without social media, what would actually be the point of ICAST? At the same
wait a minute.
Well, ICAST has been around long before ICAST.
I get that. I get that. So
how
would you find out about these new baits at ICAST if there wasn't social media to post on?
So the point of ICAST was for industry professionals to come together. So like your bait shop.
It was like fishing LinkedIn.
Your bait shop owners, your pros, those people are going to be there, and they're going to see the product, and they're going to say, okay, well, we need this, and they're going to have meetings with the company and like, yeah, we need to have this product in our store. So like you meet with Bass Pro Shops and you work out a deal with Bass Pro Shops to have that. ICAST existed long before social media.
I still think it's way bigger with social media.
It's probably about the same.
I remember,
because it's just
but the impact for the companies is way bigger, for sure. But if they can get a similar impact just with social media, it saves them a ton of money versus going to ICAST and then putting it on social media.
I'm going to try and find the video of when I got interviewed at ICAST.
Look, these companies have people that run through the analytics to look through, like, hey, if we make a post, a general post, it gets X amount of views and we get this much reach, versus if we make an ICAST post, it gets this amount of reach. So like, how much are we spending?
I'm always tuning into ICAST to see what products are dropping at ICAST.
Sure.
I'm going to find the video when I got interviewed at ICAST in 2018. I'm going to find it right now.
So I'll tell you, Pure Fishing will not be at ICAST this year. Mm-hmm. Like 100%, there will be no Abu Garcia. There's no what else?
Abu Garcia is not going to ICAST to introduce the new
anything
reels?
Pure Fishing. So that's Abu Garcia, Fenwick. What bait?
So Pure Fishing is the mother company of
Pure Fishing is the mother company of all of them. They own all of them. So they will not be at ICAST this year.
Kind of gay. I hate that shit does that.
Because it's not worth it. Essentially, it's not worth it for them to go to ICAST anymore.
They're multi-billion-dollar company, basically.
But it's all about money. Like, they're not going to.
What's $20,000 to a company that makes $500 million a year?
Have you ever seen the setups that they put down there?
Yeah.
Their setup costs probably cost more than $20,000.
So like, I don't know, but so like, let's talk about this then. Like, if you don't want to go to ICAST to promote your products, like,
you just do
what about all these companies that sponsor pro fishermen that get freaking 5 minutes of airtime on television a year? Like, what's the point of that?
I think you can get more. You can get in front of more people by promoting and spending the money.
So they have those guys
on social media than you can.
So those guys,
there's a lot of different holes here.
So those guys are also contractually obligated to do X amount of appearances per year. So they may have to go to the East Tennessee Fishing Show. Like, you have to go there. Like, if Berkeley calls you up and says you need to be at the East Tennessee Fishing Show, you have to be at the East Tennessee Fishing Show. Like, so they're getting their money from them doing appearances, things like that. Also, if they don't get return for their money, they will drop them. You constantly have to work and at pushing product.
I found it. I'm sending it to Bass and Beer Radio right now. It's pretty cringe. This is 2018.
Berkeley's Pure Fishing
On
Penn.
Facebook?
Yeah.
So here are the pure fishing companies. And
I'm just gonna send it to your personal one. I'm sorry.
Send it to
I
my
keep interrupting.
personal one.
and these will not be at ICAST. Penn, Penn Reels, Abu Garcia, Berkeley, Ugly Stick, Fenwick,
Yeah.
Fluger, Savage Gear, Plano, Finor, I have no idea. Fraybill, Gray's is more a fly fishing thing. Johnson, make like Johnson, the Johnson Thin Fisher and things like that. Mitchell makes reels. Hardy, I didn't know Hardy. That's interesting. Big fly fishing company. Shakespeare, Spider Wire,
No, it's not it. That's a Bigfoot vlog.
Stren, Van Staal. Like, those are the pure fishing brands. None of those brands will be at ICAST this year.
Dude, this is a throwback. This is a major throwback. Go to scene 2.
Don't be hating on my Berkeley stuff, Jim.
Why is this not going to full screen?
I don't know.
Did you click the full screen button?
Yeah, but then it opens this bullshit up.
That's not the full
Well,
screen button.
close the messenger thing.
That wasn't the full screen button. 2 arrows next to that.
Shut up, Paul.
So we have Tony.
So
we have Tony at ICAST.
we have Tony here at ICAST, and we're gonna.
This is almost 10 years ago. This is pretty old. This is a little cringe.
Hey guys, we're here at day 2 ICAST 2018, meeting up with some more college anglers. We're with Tony from the Virginia Military Institute. Tony, how's it going here? First experience at ICAST?
Oh man, it's been more than I could ever ask for. You know, there's so much talent out here. It's great to be able to meet all these professional guys and get the exposure and help out my team while I'm here.
Yeah, I'm talking about professionals, seeing them walking the carpet here with you. How cool is it to interact with them face to face?
Oh man, it's so humbling and it's so exciting at the same time because you get to learn what those guys are thinking. You know, I got the Elite Series coming to my hometown in Chesapeake Bay in a couple weeks, and to hear what those guys' game plans, it's the things I've never heard of and things I'm excited to try in my future tournaments up there.
Sure, and tell us about y'all's tournament fishing, your school, new club within the past year. Kind of tell us about Virginia Military Institute and what you guys are about.
Yeah, VMI is kind of is one of the last of a dying breed in terms of schools. We do things a little bit unconventionally. We got a lot of tradition, and we stick to it. You know, we stick to our guns. Our guys, we do things differently. As a military school, we're one of the few schools that does do college fishing. So that presents its own challenges. We don't have a lot of time to practice. You know, all our guys are ROTC. Some of our guys are going into the military. Some of our guys are prior enlisted. So we have a lot of different things on our plate. So it does make it a little bit more difficult to fish sometimes. Yep.
Sure, and one of the big things here is being able to meet with sponsors and see different vendors. You guys partner with AFCO. Kind of tell us what they do for you and how much you like their clothing.
Yeah, AFCO has been absolutely stellar for us. They've sent us some stuff in the past. My guys are absolutely in love with it. They give us a really awesome sponsorship, and we are so excited to have them. It's great whenever, the part of the college tournaments is whenever you meet up with somebody, everyone's always saying, well, who do you use? What brand do you like? And I always tell them, if it's on my body, it's AFCO. AFCO shorts, AFCO everything. I'm always wearing it.
Sure. Well, awesome, Tony. We appreciate your time. It's day 2 here at ICAST. We'll have some more coming to you from college anglers later today.
That was fun. AFSCO actually did used to send us like a swag pack, dude. It was like this massive fucking box, and it had like 50 fucking like samurai shirts and shit like that in it. Like, it was nice. Like, you could give it out. I mean, we would give the shit out. They had hats, shirts, pants, everything. It was cool. College fishing was the days. Dude, I sucked so bad at fishing back then. It was like disgusting to look at that video and to be like, that guy who knew
You sucked
nothing.
so bad at fishing back there, but you had the whole entire thing going on.
I know, it was cool. Like, it was fun. Well, because the thing of it was
Rocking that jersey.
when we went, it was the guys that I went with was Outdoor Technologies jerseys, and they made jerseys for Scott Martin, KVD, Iconelli. He was pretty big back. I don't know what he's doing now, honestly, but instead of hiring pros to come down with him, he brought college teams, and he basically said, "Look, I'll pay for your guys'
Jim
expenses."
says, was this last week?
Yeah, right.
Sounds the same. What is this, a commercial for the military?
But he basically, the guy that owned the company, he flew me down there, a couple guys from JMU, a couple guys from Murray State, And basically, the thing was, I just need you guys to work the booth for 6 hours a day. ICAST is a 12-hour event. As long as someone's at the booth, you're good. And then we would have the rest of the day to go and screw around and check shit. Yeah, it was cool.
One person worked the booth while the other guy or two people worked the booth, and
it was a ton of fun. Awesome. It was a great experience. But I literally knew nothing about fishing.
I want to go to an ICAST. I do. I wanted to go to one this year.
I'm telling you, you may not have the opportunity to go to ICAST in the future.
That would be insane. That would actually be insane if ICAST really just didn't exist anymore.
Like Joe just said, the company that he fished with stopped all shows because the return on investment on these shows is it's getting lower and lower and lower.
You know what the funniest part of that ICAST was? The booth that was immediately next to us. You'll never guess what it was. There were two, one on each side. Guess what the one on my left was?
Ardent.
Yes. Guess what the one on my right was?
Shimano.
Carrot stick.
Back.
I swear to God.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Tony is just scarred for life because of that.
I thought it was the coolest shit ever. I thought it was super. I remember
I love carrot stick.
I sat in the Rapala booth.
They're the best rods ever.
I sat in the.
Said no one ever.
I sat in the Rapala booth and talked with Jacob Wheeler for hours about the stupid shutterbait. Remember that? That piece of shit chatterbait that they had, the Terminator shutterbait. It sucked. It was out for a year. It was horrible. Nobody bought it. John Hansen brings up a good point. Remember Enigma Fishing? Everyone and their fucking mom had an Enigma sponsorship.
Wasn't that one of the...
Are they even around anymore?
Don't you see them posting on Facebook and shit? It's one of the advertisements on Facebook for Enigma.
I don't think they're even around anymore.
I don't know if
it looks like it has the little G. Loomis fish next to it.
Everybody
they used to... Aaron Martins used to be with them.
Everybody that I ever knew that owned an Enigma rod broke it. Everyone. And if you owned one Enigma rod, you broke it. If you owned 10, you broke at least 5 of them. It was
I agree,
unreal.
Jason. If they let the general public in, it would be a giant show.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that was 2019, 20, blah blah blah. Everyone fucking had Enigma, and they. Sucked.
Can we talk bad on Terminator now that they don't exist anymore?
That's very
does
sad.
suck.
Really sad.
I still have
that
a ton
was
of
a
Terminator
fantastic.
spinnerbaits.
I have a couple of them.
I have a bunch of them in the pack because that's all I used to throw. Terminator was replaced by Cast King. Are my Terminator spinnerbaits worth something now?
Terminator was replaced by Cast King. I wouldn't. The only thing I would ever own from Cast King is the fishing net and their.
I think
boxes.
you meant Enigma.
Their rods are actually. Oh, sorry. Their reels are not terrible.
No, yes they are. They are fucking terrible.
No, they're not.
Yes,
they're okay. They're fine.
Listen, buddy, you keep on doing what you're doing.
I'm just telling you.
Buying nice gear. Don't go backwards to this Cast King.
Dude, they're not
junk.
bad. They're
Junk.
bad.
Junk.
They're junk.
Junk.
They're not
those
junk.
Those titanium Terminator spinnerbaits are $20 to $30 online now.
Dude, I have 20 of them. Actually, I legitimately have 20 of them on my wall. They were the T1s.
Yeah.
What they were called?
Andre said 15 to 20 each.
Dude, get the hell out of here. I'm selling them because I don't use them. I use other shit now.
The
15 to 20 each. I feel like they sold for $10 back.
I think they were $12.
Yeah,
I think they were cheaper than
haven't
that. I thought they were
gone up in
$8.
The titaniums were $12.
I paid $20 for a crankbait from Megabass. Sometimes 25.
So Terminator's not a thing anymore.
Terminator's gone. They dissolved Terminator.
Really? So who's making spinnerbaits under the Rapala umbrella now?
Nobody. I don't think
Why?
they have a brand.
Why would they get rid
spinnerbaits.
of? Okay.
Was that what it was? It was Rapala?
Yeah,
they're under Rapala.
Yep. So
That
it
was
was
the Terminator, the Titaniums?
Well, so was Storm. Storm's
been under
Rapala,
Rapala for
Yeah.
26 years.
It was.
I don't think Storm or Rapala.
So it was Rapala, Storm, because Rapala sponsored the college team, so we all used to buy that shit. Back when they had the DT Fat, that was a badass.
I forget what their
crankbait.
parent company is called, but
The Rapala DT Fat was a badass.
Normark is
out of Finland.
yeah.
He said, what about
Rapala
them
DT
old
Fat was
peanut
badass.
baits? What is the peanut from? The Rapala peanut?
The peanut, that's a WEC. That's a Zoom crankbait.
Is that Balsa?
Yes.
It is Balsa.
Dude, I feel like a legend now. Well, kind of, because I have Terminator spinnerbaits on the wall. That's the only reason.
Let's see what they
I have a ton of them. It's a disgusting amount. I got some out in the truck
They
right
said
now.
the Terminator made spinnerbaits, but you had different ones. Like, are they the titaniums? The titaniums were the
probably.
good one.
Probably, I think so. They were the T1s. I don't remember. They're in the pack. I can tell you what they were.
Terminator's not even listed as a brand for
They own
Repellent.
13 now.
They've
How
had
the
13
fuck
for
are
a
you
while.
gonna fucking get rid of Terminator, but you still have Blue Fox?
Have you been watching? Dude, Blue Fox is huge.
Is it like a big
Huge.
like ice fishing thing or something?
Like ice
or-
fishing, like trout fishing type stuff.
Okay, all
Like
right.
their inline spinners are.
I know they're
are
good, but
ridiculous.
it's like I still feel like you
Like
could
they
have
sell a
just
ton
rebranded
of that stuff.
Why not rebrand the Terminator spinnerbait as the Blue Fox spinnerbait and just call it a day? Like
Maybe they will at some point. Like Booyah. I mean, Booyah did that with some of their Excalibur baits.
Oh really?
So who is it that owns Booyah? Pradco. Pradco owns Booyah. So Pradco had Excalibur. So when a parent company bought Pradco, they were like, well, we can't have this many different lines of baits. It doesn't make sense. They discontinued Excalibur, and then they started making the Excalibur traps and square bills again and the poppers, which are fantastic poppers, under the Booyah brand. Same mold, same components, everything. They're the exact same bait. They do have different hooks, but
I'm upset that the Storm self-correcting crank square bill went away.
they're Rashi.
That was a great square bill.
It was an okay square bill. There are better square bills.
Yeah, but I like the profile. I like the small profile of it, and I like the lip wasn't clear. It had that like it was like a it was almost like it was 3D printed or something.
Dude, a lot of the crankbaits now come with the circuit board lips in them.
That's what it was.
I'm not so sure about Rapala or anything like that, but I know all Megabass cranks, unless they're a deep diver, it's all circuit board lips.
Well, the thing of it is like why would Rapala have Rapala crankbaits and Storm crankbaits? You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Well, they still do, but
Zebek says, "Let's
Storm
go
still
kill some
does?
tunas."
Oh, really?
Zebek,
It's still like-
I've
I mean,
never
it's still
been.
like
I've
Whittle
never
Works.
been deep sea fishing, not once.
Booyah one knocker trap is the old Excalibur one knocker. Exactly. It's the same. And I talked to, I got a chance to talk to one of the
I
regional
like the circuit board too.
the national sales manager for Pradco. They literally use the same molds and same parts to make the Booyah that they made the Excalibur. However, people have it in their heads that the Excalibur is better. So they'll pay ridiculous amounts of money for Excalibur traps.
Are you guys using forward-facing sonar or tuna fish now? I know that's not new,
I
but
bet.
that's pretty sick.
I wish all swim bait builders would use it.
What, circuit board?
But yeah, the Excalibur traps, even though Booyah makes the exact same bait, people don't believe it's the exact same bait, and they will pay $50 to $100 for a lipless crankbait.
I could have sworn that I seen that a lot of guys
That you could get
not
at
a
Dick's
lot of
for
guys, but
$6.
I could have sworn that there was some different forward-facing sonar technology that people had on their boats for deep sea fishing that
Isn't
went out
the-
like a lot farther.
It's LVS
36.
LVS 62.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It'll look out like 400 feet, so you can see like what's that? That's like 130 yards.
That's crazy.
They also have some really there's also some like really expensive like radar stuff that they have.
Yeah.
Apparently, like that they can see like 360 degrees around the boat, like a mile away or something. But it's like $100,000 sonar rig.
Jesus. Well, it's almost 9:20. I gotta be up in 6 hours.
Yeah, I got to get up and go.
You gotta go run.
I gotta
That
go run
sucks.
6
I gotta
miles.
go fish Conowingo. That sucks slightly less.
It's been pretty good.
It's been fun. I had a lot of fun.
Matt says
Oh,
he
wait a
wants
minute.
to share the YouTube
I
short
lost it.
from today on the
Lost a
Ranger turf.
giant.
What up there?
Did you send? Did you send that to me on Facebook, Matt?
Over 5.
Yeah. When me and Miles went out Saturday, he had a 5. But we're not really like.
Yeah, he did.
We're not
Hang
really
on, we're
sticking
gonna
a meter.
we're gonna share Matt's video
Caught off the
on
bank.
this.
Just
did you?
on the main river? Yeah.
Nice. Largemouth, greenhead, The problem with that shit is there's just like one in a 100-yard stretch. It's just like weird.
Well, in that 100-yard stretch, we also caught 2 2.5s and one almost 3.
Nice.
So
All right, so before we end this, we're going to show Matt's video that he sent us on YouTube of the Ranger that he did, putting aluminum hatches on it and then putting some turf down.
Cool.
Let's check this out. Come on.
Fiberglass carpeted lids. Well, if you're wondering where all this came from, they came out of this boat right here. This is a 2005 Ranger 520 VX. Now, we stripped this thing down,
Everything's clean.
built all new custom aluminum lids, got them powder coated in the candy red,
Oh, that looks sick.
all new stainless steel handles, hardware,
Good fit too.
and this CNC C-Deck custom kit. I mean, the thing just looks immaculate, guys. Look at this.
That does look
Super
fucking
dope.
That
This is
looks
the charcoal
so sick.
over red, fish ruler there in the middle. I mean, it looks so aggressive. It's just amazing. I mean, it turned out perfect. Now you got to
Did you
think
say
this
it's
boat's
a
20 years old.
VX? Yeah,
it looks like it's
Looking
brand
at the
new.
console.
And the cool thing about it is it doesn't come with the brand new boat price tag of
Definitely
$100,000. If you guys are interested in getting something like this done, send me a message. I would be glad to help you out. Let's get back to work.
That looks just like mine with,
Look at these
with
guys.
the 520.
Well, that's
That's awesome, man. Good job, Matt. That's outstanding.
That is
That's
absolutely
badass.
insane. Guys, you just watched that video. Give Matt some feedback. What do you think? Would you guys do that to your boats if you needed to replace carpet? Is that something that you guys would do? You would go to that foam, or would you just put carpet back in there?
I would definitely go with the foam.
That's so sick. I gotta say now, after being on foam,
Yeah, it's the deal.
it's the deal.
I didn't think I would like it like that much. I mean, it's cool, but like I didn't think I would like it that much after going from carpet. But it's the deal.
It's the deal.
Definitely the deal.
I need to fish on a boat that has like that full.
Yeah.
You fish on mine when I get it back. We'll
I'm
go
either-
out.
Yeah, I'll be either gonna fish on yours or fish on Mike's.
Oh, I didn't know Mike's was all foam too.
Mike Power sent his boat to Turd Deck. They had him
Oh,
do his
really?
entire boat, his Phoenix 921. Yeah.
Did he? Hopefully that was a us plug.
Oh, did he really? Nice.
He actually didn't know about us prior, but then he did mention us
Cool.
when he was talking to them.
That's
so.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, I gotta say that.
Brew Tank, Matt's in Southern Virginia.
Yeah, Southern Virginia. Trick Tins. Check him out on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. He does phenomenal work, and he can build you hatches and ship you the hatches to you, whatever you need to do. But if you guys need aluminum work done, tin boat work done, you guys need new hatches or foam put down on your boats, Trick Tins. I mean, period. You can go back through any of Matt's stuff on YouTube and look at the work that he does, and it is absolutely insane.
Hell yeah,
It's
Jason! We'll see you
literally
Thursday.
mind-blowing.
Jason will be at the Solstice.
Cool. Awesome. Can't wait to see you, man.
But yeah, Matt, awesome work. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend Matt from Trick Tins to do any work to you guys, tin boats or anything of that nature. Like you said, he took the fiberglass lids off that boat and he made aluminum lids to fit on that Ranger and then put foam down on top of it, and just look at how amazing that it is.
You mean Omni? What is he? I don't know what you mean by Omni.
Oh, and hey, Matt, I'm gonna give you a plug. If you are, I mean, I know you're active on Facebook. The Ranger Bass Boats page, and like a lot of these like older bass boats that I'm talking like the 520 VX and maybe like the I-class skeeters where it's a little difficult to get these lids. There's a market for you. There's a huge
Massive
market for
market.
you. So, because like when I got lids replaced on my Ranger, I dealt with Ranger. Wasn't a bad process. Took a little bit longer than I would have hoped. I was ultimately happy in the end. There is a market for you, dude. Like, you should definitely consider tapping into it, because after what we just saw, I mean, we know you're good, but after what we just saw, you can really make some money on that. Like, you
shoot a
should really
message.
consider it.
Shoot a message to John Scungio with JCS Marine.
Yeah.
I mean, when he gets into stuff like that, I'm sure it would be well worth the time to deal with getting some lids built like that, other than doing some of the other stuff. And I think the aluminum probably weighs less than the.
Oh, it definitely
fiberglass
does. But yeah, Matt, I would say like those somewhat like the bass boat restorations page and things like that. Guys are always looking for deck lids, man, and it's a struggle to find them. So if that's something that's up your alley, I would definitely consider it because people will be willing to pay you to get a quality product out. But I think on that note, we're ready to wrap it up, aren't we?
Yeah,
Wrapping it up, boys. Guys, thank you for joining us tonight. We're sorry for the little mishap in the middle of our show. We will be back for another episode of Tackle Talk Tuesday, obviously on Tuesday. And we'll see you guys then. Thank you guys for supporting Bass and Beer Radio. Peace out. Have a great night.